Alright guys, the last lesson in this unit on factoring is solving quadratic equations by factoring. And the unit before this, we talked about solving quadratic equations using the calculator, the quadratic formula, and the square root method. Okay, and now if a quadratic equation is factorable, you can actually solve for your zeros or your x-intercepts, also known as your solutions, okay, by setting each factor equal to 0 and solving for x. It's very simple, and I'm going to go through the first half of your notes with you, and I want you to do the second half of your notes as kind of some guided practice. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so when we have x squared plus 7x plus 6, okay, when we factor that, we get x plus 1 and x plus 6. We're going to set each of those equal to 0. X plus 1 equal to 0, okay? And then we solve. We subtract 1 from both sides. We get x equals a negative 1, okay? And we do the same thing with the other factor. X plus 6 equals 0. Subtract 6 from both sides, and x equals a negative 6. And those are simply our answers, okay? It truly is that simple. All right, looking at number 2, okay? Number 2, we can actually take out a greatest common factor, and that factor is going to be x. Okay, so if we factor x times x is x squared, those are the factors of x squared, and 9 times x is the factors of 9x. So x can be taken out, okay, and that leaves x plus 9. Okay, we can now set each of these equal to 0. So we're going to set x equal to 0, okay, and x plus 9 equal to 0, okay. We don't have to do any work on the x equals 0, but we're going to subtract 9 from both sides on our right hand side and get x equals negative 9. And those are our answers. Okay. Looking at number 3, okay, I've got my last term is negative, okay, and my middle term is negative, which means that I'm going to have a positive and a negative constant inside of my factors, and the larger one is going to have to be negative, okay. So when you factor these, okay, you get 3x plus 1, okay, and 2x minus 1, okay. So then I set each of those equal to 0. 3x plus 1 equals 0, and 2x minus 1 equals 0. Solve each of those, and you get x equals a negative 1/3, okay, and x equals a positive 1/2. Pretty simple, all right. Let's practice on number 4. Alright, when I factor x squared minus 11x plus 24, because my middle term is negative and my last term is positive, they're both going to be negative signs inside of my factors. Okay? So that's going to be x times x is x squared, and I'm going to have a negative 3 and a negative 8. Okay? Set those equal to 0, x is equal to 3, and x is equal to 8. It truly is that simple, guys. Okay? Number 5, x squared, okay, plus 12x plus 32 factors into x plus 8 times x plus 4. We set each of those equal to 0. X is equal to negative 8, and x is equal to negative 4. Okay? Remember, your quadratic equation has to be factorable, and there are situations where you'll find that you cannot factor, okay? When that happens, okay, you simply solve it by using one of the other methods I mentioned that we've learned before, okay? The quadratic formula, your calculator, or using the square root method. So we get x is equal to 3/2, and x is equal to a negative 4. Okay? Alright guys, go ahead and pause the video. I want you to try 7 through, well, let's go ahead and go through 7 really fast for you. Now sometimes you'll find that the quadratic formula hasn't been set equal to 0, and it has to be set equal to 0 before you can factor. So sometimes you've got to move numbers around and get everything on one side of the equal sign, which we've done before. Okay, so let's practice on number 7. Okay. I'm going to want to move my negative 20 over to the other side, so I do that by adding 20 to both sides. So if I add 20 to both sides, that gives me x squared minus 9x plus 20 is equal to 0. Now I can factor. Okay. When I factor that out, I get x minus 5 and x minus 4. Okay. Set both of those equal to 0. X minus 5 is equal to 0. X equals 5. X minus 4 is equal to 0. X is equal to 4. Okay? It's truly that simple. Alright. Now I want you to practice. I want you to practice on 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Pause the video. And when you're ready to check your answers, go ahead and press play. Alright guys, you ready to check your answers? Okay, here we go. That's it for the video today, guys. Remember, your homework is due next time, and we will have a test on this the next time I see you. Have a great day.